Discover China. Since ancient times, Chinese people have revered Emei Mountain. Today, numerous sects of Buddhism still make pilgrimages to this place, known as the Land of Light. What stories does this mountain hold? Discover China looks at the tides between Taoism and Buddhism. Emei Mountain is one of China's 4 sacred Buddhist mountains. At first, Emei Mountain was a famous Taoist rather than Buddhist site. Taoism is unique to China, and this place was once regarded as a holy land for Taoists. In fact, it is considered to be an ideal place to practice and achieve immortality. In the late 9th century AD, an extraordinary old man came to Emei Mountain. He traveled about extensively, collecting medicinal herbs. Chinese people know this man as Lu Dongbin. He is highly revered by Taoists. Lu Dongbin is a mythical Taoist figure. In order to properly worship him, his disciples have built a place called Chunyang Hall. It is the most famous Taoist place on Emei Mountain. On the hillside behind this hall are 2 well-preserved stone tablets that record Taoism's glorious past. Before long, Emei Mountain lost some of its gentle serenity due to the adventures of another old herb collector. Early one morning, Old Man Pooh went up the mountain to collect his herbs as usual. Suddenly, on the ground, he noticed some odd footprints. They were as large as a tea tray and shaped like lotus blossoms. Pooh followed these strange footprints up the mountaintop until the footprints disappeared. Then, accompanied by the sounds of chirping birds, the flowing river, and the wind in the trees, Old Man Pooh witnessed a colorful halo in which a white elephant with a long trunk and 6 tusks soared in the brilliant cloudy sky. Old Pooh saw a celestial being riding the white elephant. Terrified, the old herb collector quickly bowed to him. Later, an enlightened monk informed the old man that he had seen the Puxian Bodhisattva. The Puxian Bodhisattva is highly regarded by Buddhists, for he is known to have devoted himself to helping the poor. Mr. Pooh was deeply impressed and became a devout believer of Puxian Bodhisattva. Consequently, he built a temple dedicated to Puxian on the mountainside, at the top of a cliff. In 63 AD, he converted to Buddhism. From then onward, people living around Emei Mountain began worshiping Puxian. This worship lasted for the next 1,000 years. Years after the Puxian Bodhisattva had materialized on Emei Mountain, a learned monk traveled thousands of miles to Emei Mountain to worship him. In 399 AD, he constructed what is now known as the Puxian Temple. This monk, Hui Chi, gradually merged his faith with that of the Puxian Temple and with the belief in Puxian. In fact, his Buddhist presence broke down the dominance of Taoism on Emei Mountain, simultaneously triggering a rivalry between the two religions. The tale of the white snake is based on an ancient legend of Emei Mountain. During China's Ming Dynasty, the novelist Feng Menlong wrote the story. It was compiled into a famous collection of stories called Common Words to Warn the World. Later, the tale was adapted into various dramatic forms. The story depicts a tragic love story about a magical lady, a white snake. Almost every household in China knows this tale, but few realize that the story also reflects the history of the rivalry between Buddhism and Taoism in Emei Mountain at that time.
徐世祖，我唤一起来是谁要这边？明日来端阳家境，你不免回转家中。
Although the white snake was immortal, she had transformed herself into a beautiful human woman. After drinking the laced wine, she was unable to control her physical shape. As a result, she lost her magical powers and once again became a white snake. Xu Shan had discovered the truth about his wife, and he became deathly ill. His wife, the white snake, tried to save his life, going through many hardships to obtain the immortal grasses. Although she had saved Xu Shan's life, she could not regain his love and trust, and in the end, Xu Shan, the white snake's husband, converted to Buddhism. This story shows how the white snake and the monk both fought for Xu Shan, just as Buddhism and Taoism competed for more believers. The Buddhist idea of existence being equal, together with Xu Shan's concepts of being down to earth and attaching great importance to practice, which complied with social norms, were not only easy to understand, but also easy to put into practice. Compared with the Taoist tenets of becoming immortals through practice, the Buddhist concept seemed both practical and acceptable to ordinary people. Buddhism on Emei Mountain began to expand its influence. Some Taoists in the mountain decided to leave, while others simply converted to Buddhism. Since that time, China has experienced increasing numbers of Buddhists. Like the white snake, who tried very hard to save her love, Taoism, the local religion in China, also made every possible effort to uphold its position on Emei Mountain. The rivalry became increasingly stern. In 874 AD, a new emperor ascended to the throne. He had open and tolerant religious policies, and Buddhism on Emei Mountain was offered an opportunity to start over again without prejudice. In that year, a monk named Hui Tong came to Emei Mountain. The sight of the heavily damaged Pushan temple broke his heart. He persuaded his sister, a nun called Hui Shu, to rebuild the temple with him. Together, they began revitalizing Buddhism. Buddhist temples began appearing around Emei Mountain, and Buddhism once again regained its popularity. During the 1st century, when Old Man Pu encountered the Pushan Bodhisattva, some Buddhists had carved the earliest known statue of Buddha on Ma Hao Rock, located on Lingyun Mountain east of Emei. "500 years later, the sound of chisels on Lingyun Mountain were heard again. Curious onlookers found another monk called Hai Tong leading the artisans in carving. Due to the geographical location of Lingyun Mountain during the rainy season, the area experiences devastating floods that often destroy local people's crops and homes. At that time, Buddhism on Emei Mountain had entered a prosperous period. Hai Tong had had great hopes of carving a statue of Buddha as large as the mountain. He wished, using the Buddha's supernatural powers, to bring these horrible floods under control and to create blessings upon the local people. His massive project would end up astounding future generations. It began construction in 713 AD. After Buddhism spread to China, the center of Buddhism turned from India to China. By the time of the Tang Dynasty, Buddhism had become deeply rooted in the hearts of the Chinese people. Moreover, the flourishing of Buddhism in Emei Mountain provided a golden opportunity for the monk Hai Tong to build his grand Buddha statue. Behind the Buddha statue was a cave called Hai Shi Cave. Monk Hai Tong lived there while carving the Buddha. In an attempt to protect the funds given to him to build the statue, Hai Tong blinded himself in anger and scared away corrupt officials who came to try and extort from him. Every day, Hai Tong went to the construction site with a walking stick and the help of a monk. He said, "Even though I cannot see the construction of the Buddha statue with my eyes, I still want to hear it being completed." Just after the head of the Buddha statue was finished, Hai Tong passed away. The local official Zheng Chou Jian Chong took over for Hai Tong and was eventually promoted. The then chief administrative official in southwest China, Wei Gao, continued the arduous long-term project. In 803 AD, the Buddha statue, through continuing efforts and contributions of 3 generations, was eventually completed. It had taken exactly 90 years since the monk Hai Tong began his work. The statue was named the Leshan Grand Buddha. The completion of the Buddha statue, along with the prosperity of Buddhism in Emei Mountain, served as witness to the golden age of Buddhism in southwestern China. In the past, Chinese Buddhists called Maitreya were carved in a different fashion. The old-style Buddha impressed people with his big, fat belly and cheerful, pleasant smile. Maitreya's image was conceived by the monk Bu Dai, who lived during the last years of the Tang Dynasty. As an artistic work dating to the Tang period, the Lushan Grand Buddha carries with it a more dignified and gracious image. In the 1980s, a tourist accidentally found that several mountains surrounding Lingyun Mountain happened to form a shape resembling a giant sleeping Buddha lying on his back. Additionally, other Buddha statues are located exactly in the region of the heart of the sleeping Buddha. This discovery hearkened to the ancient Buddhist belief that Buddha is in the heart. Therefore, Buddha is a mountain, and the mountain is Buddha. The sleeping Buddha situated to the east and facing the west embraces the Buddha statue. Together with Emei Mountain, they form a unique Buddhist landscape. Although Emei Mountain is located in the remote southwest region of China, the news of the flourishing Buddhist practices drew the attention of other people, in particular, the imperial court. In 980 AD, an order from the emperor brought about great changes on Emei Mountain. On that extraordinary sunny autumn day, the monk Mao Jian, who lived in the Pushan Temple, hurried down the hill to fulfill the emperor's commands. Without any explanation, Mao Jian kept on walking towards Bianjing, the capital of China at that time, thousands of miles away. Upon his arrival at the royal court, the emperor took him to see the empress. She was already 6 months pregnant. It turned out that the emperor, who desperately desired an heir, wanted him to predict whether the empress would give birth to a prince. Monk Mao Jian kept silent for a long time. At last, he opened his mouth and requested that the emperor hold a religious ceremony for 3 days. The emperor agreed. Mao Jian, leading hundreds of other monks, performed a solemn religious ceremony that lasted the entire 3 days. During this time, Mao Jian kept on burning incense and reading scriptures before the image of the Pushan Bodhisattva. On the morning of the 4th day, a golden auspicious cloud appeared in the sky above the court. Later that day, the empress gave birth to a boy. The emperor was very happy about having a son, and from then on, he became a devout Buddhist. Due to the kindness of Buddhists on Emei Mountain, the emperor offered them 1,000 gold taels as a reward and built a bronze statue dedicated to the Pushan Bodhisattva. This statue measures 7.85 meters high and weighs 62 tons. The statue of the Pushan Bodhisattva wears a golden crown and sits elegantly on the back of a white elephant. Artistic and exquisitely crafted using elegant, graceful lines, this statue is unrivaled in either its size, weight, or workmanship. During the Ming and Qing dynasties, over 260 temples, with nearly 300 figures of Pushan Bodhisattva existed on Emei Mountain. Thousands of monks lived there all year round. The followers of Buddha were innumerable. Buddhism on Emei Mountain had entered its apex of glory. Today, the descendants of past generations of believers living on Emei Mountain customarily greet each other by placing their palms together, muttering Amitabha. Their beliefs benefit them. People here treat each other pleasantly and with respect. Their focus is on good. While managing their own lives, they also carry forward the spirit of Buddhism. Buddhist culture, extensive and deep, has made Emei Mountain well known throughout the world. As the pious followers of Buddha bow and kneel to worship the Pushan Bodhisattva, Buddhist beliefs continue to be profound, yet down to earth. When coming to Emei Mountain, disciples will devoutly follow Buddhist doctrines, keeping their feet on the ground, stressing the importance of spiritual practices, climbing to the top of the mountain, chanting as they climb the mountain step by step.
中等以上的我们要说它是一种学问。
Throughout the ages, Buddhism has become deeply enshrined in the minds of the residents of Emei Mountain. This belief continues to pass down generation after generation. The holy chanting of monks still chimes in harmony with the soft sounds of whispering leaves on trees wrestling on the mountainside as time marches on.